The 50-30-20 rule is quietly failing millions of people, and I will show you the rule that actually works in 2026. If you have ever tried the 50-30-20 rule and felt like you were failing at money, you were not the problem. The rule was. Here is a statistic most finance gurus skip over. In the US, the average renter now spends over 40% of their income on housing alone. In a world where rent is 40% by itself, telling people to keep all needs under 50% is basically fantasy. So when someone says, just keep your needs at 50%, what they are really saying is, pretend that rent has not exploded. And that is why the 50-30-20 rule breaks people psychologically. Not because it is bad advice, but because it is outdated advice. Hit the subscribe button as we continue. The rule on paper sounds perfect, but in real life, it makes normal people feel irresponsible. So they quit budgeting, or worse, they start lying to themselves. Spending on coffee becomes a need, while it is not. Subscriptions become non-negotiable, not because they are careless, but because the system does not match reality. Here is the reframe that changes everything. The percentages do not matter, rather the order does. Most people try to save what is left at the end of the month, and at the end of the month, there is nothing left. So the fix is simple, but uncomfortable. Savings has to leave first. Before rent, before groceries, before lifestyle inflation gets a vote. The moment your paycheck hits your hand, money should already be gone into savings. Not because you are disciplined, but because you remove the decision entirely by automating saving. Even if it is not up to 20%, 5% is enough to start. 10% is powerful. The habit matters more than the numbers. Now here is where most people still mess this up. They treat savings like one big bucket of everything mixed together. With no clear purpose, that is a mistake, because savings has jobs. But first, it needs to protect you from life problems such as eventual car breakdowns, medical bills, the stuff that turns into credit card debt when you are not ready. This money is boring on purpose. It is not for fun, but it is for peace. Once that buffer exists, the next enemy is obvious. Removing the high-interest debt. You know, credit cards do not feel dangerous until you realize the interest is quietly taxing your future every month. And the limit on the card, it is not a reward, it is a leash. That's not a goal, that's a warning sign. Then there is the part people like to skip because it feels uncomfortable, which is protecting your income. Insurance is not pessimism. It is acknowledging how fragile progress can be. One event can erase your years of good decisions. Protection keeps that from happening. Here is the part most people should find liberating. You do not need perfect ratios. You do not need 50-30-20 to the dollar. Rather, what you need is momentum. Maybe your reality looks like 65% for needs, 20% for wants, and 15% for savings. That is not failure, that is control. And once emergencies are covered, debt is shrinking and income is protected. That is when investing finally makes sense, not before. Not when life is still happening on credit cards. Start boring. Stay consistent. That is how wealth is actually built. Here is the mindset shift that separates people who stay stuck from people who move forward. A budget is not restriction, rather, it is permission. Permission to spend without guilt, because your future is already handled in the background. So, no, the 50-30-20 rule did not fail because you are bad with money. It failed because it never evolved. Remember to save first, protect your savings second, and thirdly, invest. The order of priority of saving, need and want is the rule that actually works. Fix the order, automate the system, and adapt to real life. And that is when money stops stressing you out and starts doing its job. If you want help building a system that fits your real life, hit subscribe button and drop your current savings percentage in the comments. 0%, 5%, 10%, so we can track your progress together. See you in my next video.